Good afternoon et bienvenue tout le monde. My name is Peter Searles, and I'm a fifth-year volunteer with the CSPC on the program and editorial committees, and I'm a PhD candidate in mechanical engineering at the University of Toronto. On behalf of the CSPC, it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker, Nipun Vats, the Assistant Deputy Minister, Science and Research Sector for the Department of Innovation, Science and Economic Development, Canada, or ISED. His portfolio includes supporting the federal policy and investments in post-secondary research, playing a coordinating role for federal intramural science, and facilitating the development of digital research infrastructure strategy. Welcome, Nipun.
Thanks very much, everyone. Merci, miigwech. I wanted to begin by respectfully acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples. Thanks also to Merdad and all the great volunteers. I mean, one of the nice things about this event and doing it in person this year is that you actually get to see all the people who make this happen and their enthusiasm for the event and how they actually support our ability to be here and get together. So thank you to Merdad, of course, but also to the great team that puts this event together. And it's also great, I know a number of faces in this room, some of whom I've only met in 2D, so it's really nice to actually see live people here today. Au nom du gouvernement du Canada, j'aimerais souhaiter la bienvenue à tous les délégués. 3 longues années, comme j'ai dit, sont passées depuis que nous sommes rencontrés en personne pour cette conférence. Alors c'est un bon endroit pour se rencontrer et renforcer nos relations quand on parle des politiques des sciences. So this year's themes for the conference, namely uncertainty and sustainability, are top of mind for the government as we look to Canada's post-pandemic future. Comme vous tous, le gouvernement comprend que la science et l'innovation seront indispensables pour favoriser une reprise qui est diversifiée, équitable et inclusive, une dont tous les Canadiens pourront bénéficier. We know that a strong science and research ecosystem is the foundation for prosperity and a good quality of life for people in Canada. And in this time of geopolitical upheaval, it can provide global leadership and stability that transcends borders. And I've been traveling a bit internationally lately, and I can certainly say that in these uncertain times, there is a lot to be said for stronger international connections, and science is a big part of that. We can certainly be confident that as the global economy changes and we face complex challenges here and abroad, Canada has all the elements that we need to navigate uncertainty and promote sustainability. We have a highly educated workforce, highest share of university college graduates in the OECD. We have a range of innovators, a lot of entrepreneurs in this country, and we should also be proud of our scientific community. You all know these stats, but although Canada only represents about 0.5% of the world's population, we generate about 4% of the world's knowledge. And so we certainly punch above our weight as a country in terms of contributing not only to knowledge for Canada, but for the world, and that has a real impact. Et nous sommes fiers de nos institutions de recherche de renommée mondiale. On a à peu près 500 000 étudiants qui sont diplômés chaque année, so that talent pipeline is critical to what we do. The government knows that a plan for a long-term recovery must look at the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead in the years and decades to come, and it's that long-term view that really makes the biggest impact. It must be led by a growth strategy that builds on Canada's unique competitive advantages and that makes sure that we're well positioned to meet the demands of the next century. To that end, the most recent federal budget set aside more than $500 million in new investments to support and protect Canadian research and science. And in total, over the life of this government, that has brought investments to more than $14 billion in areas related to science. Ces investissements contribuent à renforcer la position du Canada en tant que chef de file mondial dans le domaine de la recherche et l'innovation, en créant une marque mondiale qui attirera les talents et les capitaux pour les années à venir. Among the highlights of Budget 2022 was the creation of a new innovation and investment agency that will work with Canadian businesses and with Canadian universities and researchers to help make the investments needed to innovate, grow, and compete. In its fall economic statement, which was just a couple weeks ago, the government reaffirmed its intention to move forward with the establishment of this agency I can't say very much about it today, but there will be more details coming in the coming weeks. So it's something to watch for as a new element that can kind of help support Canadian innovation. The government is also launching a national lab to market platform to help graduate students and researchers take their work to market more effectively. And that can be for economic benefit, but also for societal benefit more broadly. Additionally, our federal granting councils coming out of the last budget will be supporting research in developing technologies and crop varieties that will allow for a net zero emission agriculture to try and drive a real transformation in the agricultural sector. As mentioned by Minister Champagne in his remarks here last night, there are also new targeted scholarships and fellowships for promising Black student researchers, and new money for up to 25 internationally recruited Canada Excellence research chairs. There's so many Canada funding programs that you can trip over them very easily, but this is a very important one. Those chairs are particularly focused in the STEM fields. The government is committed to preserving a collaborative and open approach to science and discovery, while at the same time protecting Canadian research and intellectual property against foreign interference, espionage, and theft. And the primary concern there is that it's the researcher themselves that is able to decide how that intellectual capital is deployed. To help ensure that our investments in innovation, science, and research maximize the benefit to Canada and Canadians, the government also set aside funding for the implementation of these national security guidelines for research partnerships. Nous savons que la recherche de renommée mondiale est rendue possible par des partenariats nationaux et internationaux entre les chercheurs, les entreprises et les institutions de recherche. La découverte scientifique, combinée à la mobilisation des connaissances, mène à de nouvelles innovations, à des solutions aux grands problèmes et à de meilleurs emplois pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes. By collaborating with key and trusted international partners, which is a critical part of Canada's success, we are able to to benefit from working with leading thinkers in a wide range of sectors, demonstrate our strengths in research areas such as emerging technologies, and also to help develop world-class clusters, corridors, research institutions, and facilities. An example of how we are trying to increase our efforts to collaborate internationally is the New Frontiers in Research Fund's Horizon 2022 Global Funding Platform, which is meant to help support Canadian participation in Horizon Europe projects and is open until the end of this calendar year. As many of you know, Horizon Europe is the world's largest collaborative research and innovation program that brings together leading researchers from around the world to work on innovative cutting-edge research and to find solutions to global challenges. So this is a step in the direction of deepening those international relationships on research. For those who are interested, you can learn more about this competition by visiting the Horizon 22 funding platform on the SSHRC website. Now, I'd like to spend a little bit of time today focusing on several Canadian areas of strength where the government has sort of doubled down on our investments. And these are areas of strength that are really built on a long-term research effort by Canadian scientists. You know, I think sometimes we kind of see the emergence of a new technology area and we take for granted that it just sort of magically appeared. But you know, in these areas where the government's focusing, there's been a long effort by a range of scientists and patient investment in many cases by governments over a period of time that have sort of made it to this point, made us get to this point. So the one I'd like to start with is artificial intelligence, and then the development of a quantum strategy as well as a pan-Canadian genomics strategy. So on AI, the growing importance of AI to business productivity, economic competitiveness, and sustainability can't be overstated. These discoveries promise profound implications in critical areas such as climate, sustainable economic development, improved medical treatments. Essentially, it's a platform that can support a whole bunch of new opportunities. En bref, l'intelligence artificielle est l'une des plus grandes transformations technologiques de notre époque, et c'est aussi un domaine de recherche où le Canada se classe parmi les leaders mondiaux. I think we all know we've got global leadership in a lot of areas of AI research. Overall, Canada ranks 5th on the Stanford University Global AI Vibrancy Tool, 3rd among the group of 7 nations after the US and the UK. And the government's pan-Canadian artificial intelligence strategy has been designed to take advantage of those strengths. The first phase of that, as many of you know, was launched in 2017 in partnership with CFAR. And the strategy, the focus was on talent. I mean, the strategy is helping to secure a growing base of academic talent to foster ideas, develop that next generation of talent, and to, by doing so, maintaining a globally competitive position in AI research, but also in the downstream benefits. Because it is that pipeline. When you think about AI, it's the people that are kind of like the natural resource. And by investing in that training capability and the trainees, you are actually helping to create that ecosystem that you need to grow a vibrant sector in the country. Il y a maintenant plus de 100 titulaires actifs de chaires en IA de CIFAR, dont plus de 50 chercheurs internationaux de premier plan attirés au Canada par la stratégie et ses investissements. Les Instituts nationaux d'intelligence artificielle du Canada, AMI, l'Institut Vecteur et MILA, ont formé des milliers d'étudiants diplômés et de boursiers postdoctoraux, dont beaucoup sont des étudiants étrangers qui sont venus au Canada en raison de forces reconnues de chaque institut. It's pretty impressive if you've been around the country to see these institutes in action. The government recently recapitalized the strategy with more than $440 million in support for a second phase that doubles down on the talent and research part, but also adds to it the pillars of commercialization and international standards, so that there's a trusted, responsible approach to AI development in the world. The pillars are focused on ensuring that Canada leverages the potential of AI to unlock new discoveries, help address pressing societal challenges, as well as generate economic growth for Canada and for Canadians. The government is looking forward to work with partners to advance responsible AI, whether it's to drive sustainable economic development, combat climate change, improve medical treatments, or other critical areas where AI can have an impact. So the second area I want to talk a bit about was quantum science. And full disclosure, I am a recovering quantum physicist. So this one is a bit near and dear to me. I always say one day at a time when you're in recovery. So this is an area where we're at the leading edge of research and innovation, and it holds a lot of potential. It's something that, again, long gestation time, a whole range of innovations and ideas that are now starting to realize some technological benefits. Supported. This is another emerging field that will transform a lot of areas. Could be life-saving drugs, next-generation batteries, and Canadian scientists and entrepreneurs are really well positioned to take advantage of these opportunities because what has been built here out of their ingenuity. So supported by more than $1 billion over the past 10 years in federal investment, not to mention private sector investment and provincial investments, Canadians have developed a quantum ecosystem with strengths from coast to coast. Our quantum talent is really second to none. When I go internationally and I talk to people at the major centers of quantum research around the world, you invariably bump into Canadians who were trained here at home. And of course, we'd like to bring them all back, but the fact that they are seen as the top talent in the world is really a testament to what we do here. And they talk about not only our talent, but also the cool things that we're actually developing in Canada. And many Canadian researchers and companies are really leading the way with world firsts in this area. To support this, the Government of Canada is developing a national quantum strategy that'll help grow our quantum sector and solidify our leadership in this fast-growing field. It's focused on amplifying our strengths in quantum science, talent, and growing quantum technologies and companies, as well as advancing research and commercialization that benefits Canada. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to launch that in the not too distant future. The last area I want to talk about is genomics technologies and innovations that are crucial to finding solutions to global challenges such as climate change, environmental protection, precision health, and food and energy security. Le Canada a fait preuve d'une force de classe mondiale en matière de recherche en génomique grâce à son solide écosystème de recherche, à son système de soins de santé public fort et à son accès aux ressources naturelles. Le gouvernement du Canada élabore actuellement une stratégie pan-canadienne en matière de génomique afin de stimuler l'innovation en génomique par la commercialisation et l'adoption of these important technologies. The strategy will promote socioeconomic growth and strengthen Canada's position as a world leader in research and innovation in this area where, again, Canada has had a lot of leadership. So I've gone through a number of areas. I'll just finish with a really quick mention of some of the things that we're supporting at this conference this year, We've been a supporter of CSPC for a number of years, and it's great to see all the panels, but I'll just highlight ours. Yesterday, Public Service and Procurement Canada sponsored a panel where our Associate Deputy Minister, who was initially supposed to be here in my place, Francis Bilodeau, discussed science infrastructure and the tools that support transdisciplinary collaboration. At the same time, my department sponsored an in-depth discussion of how Canadian institutions are handling the issue of research security, which continues to be a sensitive area and needs to kind of be balanced with the importance of an open research environment. And finally, amid a global crisis of science misinformation, there's another ISED panel being held tomorrow, which will ask whether we can save, the title is, Can We Save Democracy? Like you, I hope the answer is yes. But the reality is, as you all know, anti-science and anti-government perspectives are increasingly pervasive and have multiple channels to reach a range of people, and those perspectives aren't going away. And so, knowing how to handle those is increasingly important for the science community. We know that they represent a real threat to personal and public health and to democracy itself. This is the third science misinformation panel hosted by ISED, and it kind of reflects the importance of not only the investing in research, but trying to make sure that the public is well informed about scientific issues. So this is obviously kind of heavy material, and I've taken you away from your nice dinner or lunches, so apologies for that. But it is certainly, you say this at various points, but we really are living in a really historic time for science and research. It's sort of the global context kind of drives us to be thinking about these issues even more deeply, both as a country but on the international stage. And the question of how we rise to address these challenges through science and innovation will really affect all our futures. There's a book that I was just reading recently by a philosopher called What We Owe the Future. And it talks about the importance of long-termism, like thinking about how we may be in a period in the world where there's much more of a range of possible options that we can shape that could inform the long-term trajectory of humanity on Earth. And whether you buy that argument or not, it is important to think about what we do in that long-term perspective and how important it is to continue to focus on the things that all of you do, I no longer do, but all of you do in this room. Ainsi, alors que vous prenez connaissance des délibérations de la conférence, je tiens à vous remercier pour tous vos engagements et votre énergie, alors qu'ensemble, nous naviguons sur l'incertitude et vision la durabilité. Je vous remercie encore de m'avoir donné l'occasion de présenter et je souhaite à tous une conférence agréable et instructive. Merci.